I'm too loud?
No, I hear, yeah, but I think it's me.
I was in a meeting a long time ago with the sales manager. He said, "You're too much for me. You're too loud." I was like, okay, thanks.
All right. Well, hello. So it looks like we are live right now. So hello, everyone out there in Facebook world. Welcome to today's How to Buy an RV in a Virtual World. I am Jennifer Greenneck. I'm the Director of Consumer Marketing at Trader Interactive, which is the parent company of RV Trader. And I'm here with a super talented, super intelligent, super RV enthusiast, Paige Boma. She is the Executive Vice President of Sales and Operations at RV Trader. I'm really excited to have her here today because she is truly an expert as it relates to RV. She has nearly 15 years of extensive experience, both personally and professionally, within the RV industry. So with that, Paige, if you want to give a quick introduction, I don't want to steal all your accolades. So.
Well, thanks, Jen. I don't know. Hopefully I can live up to all the superness that you just gave me. But hi, welcome everybody to our Facebook Live. It's a really exciting topic today. As Jen mentioned, I am Paige. I have been with the company, as she also mentioned, for 15 years, but I love this industry. So I'm lucky to work in the industry, but it's also my passion. My husband and my two boys and I, we spend about 30 weekends a year with some weeks sprinkled in there in our RV. It's definitely our second home and we love being there. And I've been RVing for over 10 years. So I'm excited to share some of my experiences with you and answer some questions, and let's get started.
Awesome. Perfect. And I'm personally excited for this one. I want to buy an RV, but my husband had to buy another boat. So now we have a fleet of boats instead of buying the one RV. So I'm going to get a lot of information today with this as well. So this is the one I'm most excited about doing. So before we do jump into the answer or the questions, I'm sorry, I want to mention that along with this Q&A, we have a lot of other resources for you guys. We're going to drop a link in the comments section to a webinar that Paige was hosting and has a lot of great information. So if we don't cover all of that today, we're going to drop that link in the comments section. It also is going to take you to our blog. We have a ton of resources there for you as well, a buyer's guide, a checklist, an infographic, a video, literally everything to help you with your digital shopping journey. And although I imagine we're going to have a lot of questions, we're going to try to keep this to 30 minutes. So we've collected some questions previously. We're going to go through those, but like I said, drop your questions in the comments section and we'll try to get to those as well. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. Are you ready, Paige?
I'm ready.
All right, let's do this. Okay, so first basic question, where do I even start my search for an RV?
So just like anything, if you're going to be starting to shop online, you're probably going to start on Google and you're going to be asking some questions to kind of get your start there. And then I always recommend, like, look at some RV blogs. There's really great RV podcasts out there that you can listen to. Go to RV Insider. You can look at different reviews. Start doing as much research as you possibly can. Also, I would say start with social media. Ask friends about their experiences. I've been getting tons of people, as the industry is really booming right now and a lot of people are getting involved in RVing. I get more requests on Facebook or from Instagram of people asking me directly, friends, even friends from high school from a long time ago, of like, hey, I'm thinking about buying an RV. What advice can you give me? Because I've been seeing pictures of your RV online. And then once you kind of got an idea and you're starting to get the bug about RVing and you're making your wish list of all of the things you're going to want, then start to check out sites like RV Trader, go to the marketplaces, look around, start browsing so that you really start to figure out what you want and what type of experience you want to have. That's where I would start.
That's perfect. And you said that you give advice to your friends sometimes. What's the best advice you've ever received about purchasing an RV?
This is great. This was actually with my third RV that we were getting ready to purchase. We spent about a year getting ready to make this purchase. So we were doing all of the research, asking a bunch of questions, and I had a checklist. I would say it was probably a mile long of all of the things that we wanted to get in our RV. And I could not find it. And I was getting super frustrated. And I was at a trade show and I was talking to one of the head designers for Keystone RVs. And I said, I can't find what I'm looking for. And he's like, go through your list. And I went through it and we started chit-chatting about it. And he basically said, Paige, if you can find 70% of what you're looking for in the RV, you're going to be happy. So trying to find, just like when you're buying a house, like trying to find absolutely every last little thing, that's going to be kind of difficult. But if you can get to 70% of what you're looking for, I think you're going to be happy. I would say the other piece of advice was just to maybe try before I buy. Somebody mentioned we were looking between a fifth wheel and a driver. So we actually test drove a driver and we realized there that, you know what, that might not be the right unit for us. So you can test also. There you go.
That's a great answer. Perfect. So we've already seen some questions come into the comment section. So we just got one. I've researched like crazy, YouTube, Facebook, etc. What is the best brand?
That is really going to be a personal preference. I would say up to you. I can tell you we had a Keystone originally, or that was our second unit, was a Keystone, and I loved it. I was super happy with it. It was a fantastic unit. And so I started my search thinking we were going to look for a Keystone for our third unit. And what I found was that I had very specific things, again, going back to my checklist, that I wanted, and I couldn't find it in a Keystone. So I ended up looking at another brand, and that brand has been excellent for us as well. We have a Thor now. So I think it really is going to be dependent on what you're looking for, will help you kind of decide on what brand, but all the brands have different things about them that make them special and make them good. I would ask a lot of questions to dealers, ask friends, and look at reviews. So when you get the unit that you're thinking about and you find one that meets your needs, start to really look at that brand in RV reviews. That's going to give you a lot of insight, not just on the brand, but also that specific model.
Perfect. Okay. Here is another one from the comment section. Is there any way to determine if a used RV has full body paint or decals by just looking at the unit?
That is a great question. I think for the most part, you can see that as you're looking at it in person. But that's probably something too that I think would be a great question to ask the dealer that you're working with. They should be able to answer that if it's something that you cannot identify looking at it. But for the most part, I think you can see it if it's decals versus full body paint.
Perfect. Okay, great. Here is another question. What do you think would be the best RV for a total beginner? Someone like me who wants to buy one and convince their husband.
Easy question. And I'm just going to kind of go back to when we started RVing. We started with a 19-footer. It was a small unit. We had no slides. I think that no slides as a beginner makes it a little bit easier. It was a travel trailer, so it attached very easily to our current truck that we had. It was a very lightweight unit. So I think that that's a great one to start with, something smaller as a travel trailer. If you wanted to start with something that is a driver, then I would say a small, again, like I think small is the key word here when you're getting started. A small C-Class is good. It's going to feel a little bit more comfortable for you, a little bit more similar. It's on a truck chassis, so it's going to feel a little more similar to driving a car or a truck. So it might make it a little bit easier, but definitely something smaller. Think about what you need as far as how many people are going to sleep in it. But I would say definitely start with something probably under 23 feet would be where I would begin. And then you can as you get more comfortable, you can, put slides in there, get some, a bigger unit. We went from a travel trailer that was 19 feet to a 26-foot that had one slide. And it was also a travel trailer to a fifth wheel, which is what we currently have. And our current fifth wheel has 3 slides. And so it just kind of gets bigger and you get more comfortable. And then our next unit is probably going to end up being a some type of A-class diesel pusher and getting bigger again.
Oh man. So do folks need a special license to drive an RV, you think? Or?
No, you really don't. As long as it's under like 26,000 pounds, you for the most part will not need any type of special license. I think the biggest thing is just get comfortable with it.
Perfect. All right, we have quite a few questions coming in from the comment section. Keep them coming. I read and researched that you should negotiate about 25% off MSRP. I
think it's going to depend on the unit. It's going to depend how long it's been on the sales floor. If you're looking at something that maybe is last year's model, like we're already in 2021 and you're looking at a 2019 that's new or a 2020, you may have a little bit more wiggle room there. I will say right now, inventory is tight. So you're probably not going to have nearly as much negotiation room as you had, 3 or 4 years ago on a unit. So make sure as you're going in there, there are a lot of people that are looking at these units and that are talking to the dealers already in conversation. So if you're going in with a really low price to start, you might miss out on that unit that you're looking at because someone else might snag it up before you.
That's a very good point. Here is another one from the audience. This is a great one. Even in the virtual environment, do you ever recommend buying an RV, even your dream one, sight unseen?
So this question really hits home for me. Our current camper that we have right now, our fifth wheel, when we started to go down the road, and again, we had this huge checklist, we found the exact unit we wanted. We had a very specific need of, I wanted inside bunks for my kids in our fifth wheel. So we found the unit we wanted. It was a Cyclone. I could not find it anywhere. I extended my search out nationwide, and we found one about 9 states over, and we were able to work with the owner directly. He sent us videos and went in and opened cupboards for me. I give an example. I found a strange little, looked like a hook in one of the cupboards. And I was like, what is that hook? Why would there be a hook in that cupboard? I'm so confused. So he went through, took pictures of it, stood by it, put his hand by it, did everything they could to make it really comfortable for me to understand every in and out of this unit. And when the first time we actually went in the unit, the first time we opened the cupboard, looked at the bedroom, anything, was when it was in our driveway. So I think absolutely right now you should feel comfortable being able to buy a unit without looking at it, sight unseen. You just have to ask questions, use chat. I know on RV Trader, we have an option where you can actually request more video, but you can also request video chat. So request with the dealer, say, hey, can you walk me through this unit with the video and show me everything? And so you can direct them and say, hey, can you open the stove for me? Can you open the fridge? So you can get really comfortable with the unit. You can also, my brother's looking for a new RV. They live in Michigan, and they have been working with dealers all across the country. And my brother-in-law actually went out and looked at a unit for them to check it out, and helped them through the process of buying one as well. So I think you should not pigeonhole yourself of getting a unit if it's a sight unseen.
That's perfect. That's a perfect answer. So you mentioned new. Let's shift gears a little bit. This is a previously selected question. What's the best way to go about finding a used RV, and what things should someone look for when buying used?
So kind of the same, I'm going to kind of go off the same thing that I just said. I think when you're buying a used RV, you have to really look at every aspect of that RV, and you have to ask a lot of questions about the RV just to make sure that, it is the right unit. Understand, how long they've had it. Ask the questions about where did they take it. If they know that, if you're talking to a private seller, you can ask a lot of those type of questions. I would also ask if it's been stored in the garage. Is it a garage stored unit? Has it been stored outside? Look at how many miles are on that unit, and start to think to yourself, was it a unit that was used a lot? Was it a unit that was not used often, based on how old the unit is? Make sure that you're signing up, getting the right insurance for that unit when you're getting a used unit. But just, again, I think it just goes down to asking the questions, doing the research, looking, you can look under a unit, see if there's rust, look at all the different aspects there. And I would say also, when you are buying a used unit, try to not think as much about the cosmetic pieces of it. So, if you're looking somewhere and you see that there's maybe a scratch here or a scratch there on the inside of the unit, or it looks like something's rubbed a little bit, or maybe the couch looks like it's been worn in a couple spots, don't get stuck on those type of things when you're buying a used unit. Really look at the integrity of the unit, read the reviews, see if it's a it's a good unit with good reviews and those type of things. And again, you can fix some of the cosmetic things.
Right. Okay. So I guess a nice segue into this question, we also received a lot of questions about inspections and if you recommend an RV be inspected by a trained inspector before purchasing.
I think it's a great idea, right? You need to have the comfort in the unit that you're purchasing. This is a big decision that you're making. And again, you're probably spending a long time researching and preparing and getting ready for this. So you want to make sure it is the right unit. And I think hiring an inspector will give you that peace of mind. You can also inspect it, yourself. Again, go in there with your checklist, really look at all the different parts of this unit. But I think a inspector that you hire to go out there and look at it will give you that peace of mind.
Perfect. Okay. We also have one from the comment section around extended warranties and if you think they're worth it.
I do. I think it makes sense to get an extended warranty if you can. Things go wrong. Things happen, especially if you're using the unit a lot. So I think if you've got the opportunity to get an extended warranty, or even when you're buying a used one, look to see, ask the question, ask the dealer, like, does this have a warranty already on it? And can I extend that? Because that might also give you that peace of mind, even if you're buying a used unit. Perfect.
All right. You are definitely the expert. So again, we appreciate you hanging out with us today. So as it relates to some of the previously collected questions, we got some pretty hyper-specific questions around septic tanks and limo businesses and auto leveling kits and handicap accessibility, like a lot of specific questions. So we were just wondering what your advice would be to folks looking for very specific needs for questions kind of like that.
Really talk to your dealers. Get on their radar. So I'll use ourselves as an example. I was super specific with the way that I wanted our bunk situation set up in the fifth wheel that we just purchased, or that we purchased not that long ago. That was a big deal for us. And so I was asking dealers very specifically, can you be on the lookout for this? And I was asking them questions about that. So I think the more you can open up that dialogue and talk to different dealers, they are experts out there. So ask them, if you're trying to get a RV that's great for a limo business, ask them about it. What would you recommend? They're going to be really good ones to give you that information, or about leveling kits. Like, there may be an opportunity to do aftermarket leveling kits. So again, don't get yourself stuck where you're only looking for something that's got auto leveling on it. Ask dealers questions about it. Say, I really want auto leveling on my unit. What do you recommend as far as what's the best unit for that? But also, they may tell you that there's other options and there's other ways that you could, look for a unit that maybe doesn't have auto leveling, but you could get it put on aftermarket and you could find out how much is it going to cost. So use the dealers as a resource for you to ask questions. Another recommendation too is just put a question out there on Facebook to your friends and ask them, like, hey, I'm looking for this, or I am looking for RVs with features that are handicap accessible. Does anybody have some advice that they could give me? They may actually go to one of their friends and say, like, hey, I know you've got an RV that's got really good handicap, accessibility. Can I connect you with my other friend? So just get out there, ask the questions. And I think that that's probably your best way to get some of these very hyper-focused questions answered.
Perfect. We had one come in that is a little specific, but I want the folks that are entering the questions live to feel like we are answering their questions as well. So my wife and I have been looking for a used motorhome for several months. We've contacted dealers regarding the models that have full body paint. Do you know of any certain models that were manufactured between 2002 and 2010 that have full body paint? We've wasted a lot of time looking, I'm sorry about that, at models we thought we would like.
I do not offhand know any. But again, I think getting with the dealers and asking them to put on the radar, for you of ones with full body paint, and just tell them, like, I'm not going to buy one without this. So they can maybe start looking for you. I think also I Google a lot. So Google it. Google what are the best units with full body paint. Also looking at review sites, I think you can generally go in and you can put a search in there, like go in and search for those keywords of full body paint. And that will help you to narrow down which are the ones that actually have full body paint, and then you can focus there. I would also ask yourself, why do you want full body paint? Like, what is the reason that that's an important feature to you? So that, again, I'm really big on like knowing why I want something, so that I'm making sure that I'm not taking out of the mix something that might be a great unit for me, that may not have what I originally thought I wanted.
That's a great answer. Perfect. So this is a previously collected question. Can I purchase an RV factory direct, where the manufacturer can take the dealer's price out of the product and give that savings to the buyer?
So for the most part, no. Most manufacturers are going to sell directly to dealers, and then you're going to purchase from the dealer. But I know I mentioned it previously. I really think buying through a dealer and talking to the dealer, you're going to have a really positive experience. Also, they'll know your unit. So whether you're buying a used or a new unit.
Oh, we are having a little bit of technical difficulties. I'm sure Paige will hop right back in a second. All righty, let me just double check here and see where she might have gone to. So I think what she essentially was saying was, ideally, your connecting with a dealer is going to be your best bet, and that factory direct is not necessarily going to be what you should do. Oh, hi. Hello, technology.
Hi. Technology. We talked about this earlier. I love technology. My whole computer shut down. Never had that happen before, but I'm on my phone. We regrouped quickly.
Perfect. Well, I finished up the factory direct question. But if there was anything else, essentially just reemphasize that dealers are going to be probably your best bet, because they're going to be able to answer all of the questions that you could potentially have. So, well, we are super glad to have you back. So let's hop into our second question. Our next question: how accurate are the prices quoted on NADA for average and low retail? And should I base any offer on their prices?
I think NADA is a fantastic place to start to understand the market itself. But remember, every single unit's gonna, especially used units, might have some, specific add-ons or some aftermarket things that may have been done. So I think it's a good starting point. And they've got, a good price checker and different things there. But I wouldn't put everything on NADA. I would do your own research. I would 100% look online. Do some searches on RV Trader for other units and what are those units going for and how long have they been online. That will help you to kind of get some good ideas about the pricing and what's the right price to either pay or the right price to put for your unit as you're selling it.
Perfect. Great answer. We had another one come in from the audience. Is there a place to find what others have paid for new RVs by manufacturer or model number?
So not necessarily. I mean, again, your best bet is going to be there's my computer again. It's having a good time today. The best bet is your best bet's going to be just to, like, you could look again through NADA to find out the average price, but really you can ask, I don't know if asking friends is the right way to do it, but no, there's not really a database there that's available to just go and find that information.
Perfect. And Paige, no one will blame you if you just throw your computer right now. Like, no one will see it. I won't tell anyone. So if you just want to, totally fine with that.
I'm not sure what it's doing today. It's having a rough Thursday.
It's having a moment. Okay, we'll let it have its moment. So this is a good one we previously collected. I personally liked this one. I have a 2007 Nomad with a bunk. I'm interested in fixing it up and painting the walls and cabinets neutral colors. Does doing this drop the trade-in value?
I love this. I am Pinterest obsessed, especially probably many of you are as well. So I think that it's a great idea, especially if it's an older unit. Like, I'm seeing so many people painting their insides white, like all the dark brown cabinets are white, or doing like a really cool gray, or doing some pops of color. I think it's great. I have looked at a couple of units myself because I spend my free time also looking at RVs. And I've seen a couple really cool units that looked amazing. And so I think it's a great idea. My brother and his wife actually are in the process of redoing their entire unit. They've got, I want to say it's like a 2001, and they're repainting everything, and it's going to look great. I don't think it's going to drop your trade-in value at all. I think, it's going to look really great in your photos, and people will be excited about it.
Perfect.
Great
answer. We have received this question a couple times. I'm gonna mention this from the comment section. It looks like we allow a lot of listings on RV Trader that the seller doesn't actually have. This person is tired of calling about an RV only to find that the seller doesn't actually have it. Usually it's on order with no known delivery date. Any thought around that?
Welcome to 2021. RVing, for so many reasons that probably most of you on the phone know this as well. RVing is awesome. It is an amazing thing to do. And with the pandemic that everybody's been in, we have seen a huge influx in people getting involved in RVing. So units are scarce right now. And also think about the fact that a lot of the manufacturers had to kind of shut down their production plants earlier in the pandemic. And so they're still kind of making up for that to get new units on their floor. I think it makes great sense to pre-order if you know what you want. You've been doing the research. When you talk to a dealer and they say, we don't have this unit, but it's on pre-order, I feel pretty confident that if you don't get in there and get these units ordered, they may not be there by the time they get on the floor. So I think the pre-ordering is kind of important right now if you're looking for a very specific new unit. And they're moving so fast as well. So they might have had one yesterday and today it's already been sold. So I know it is frustrating. My brother and his wife are looking for a new unit currently. And I talk to my sister-in-law about this almost every day. She's like, I really am trying to find this unit and it's already sold, or, they don't have it on the lot. So I think that that's just something that right now it is a struggle. It's worse than it's ever been, but you've got to be kind of proactive with it and just understand this is kind of how it is these days. So.
Perfect answer. We have another one from the comment section. Once a decision to buy a long distance RV has been made, how do you suggest proceeding with the actual purchase that works well for the buyer and seller?
Working directly, if you're going to be working with a dealer, I think, again, it makes it super easy. As we did our purchase, they sent us all the information. We filled it out. We sent it back to them. You could use DocuSign. There's lots of ways that you guys can do this. That does kind of bring me to probably a question that would come up, like, as far as like fraud, like don't make a payment on something to a private seller before you guys have kind of worked through some of the details. Be very careful with that type of stuff. That's why I do recommend, I think dealers are a great way, and a lot of dealers do consignment for sellers. So again, you're getting that dealer experience, but you're also getting the reputation of the dealer as well. So I'm not afraid to do it, but I think you just need to make sure you're using common sense before you do any type of exchange of dollars.
Perfect. And speaking of fraud, I think we're talking here about buying in a digital environment, right? And I imagine that would be folks' initial hesitation is, I don't want to get scammed. So what essentially would be the best advice you could give them to avoid any type of scamming?
So really look at where you're finding the unit. I think that's a great place to start. I think dealers, again, make me have that comfort, that warm fuzzy. But one of the things I know for RV Trader that we do is we have an entire fraud department located in Seattle. And, they spend all of their time looking for trends and different, things that are happening in kind of the scam or the fraud world. And they identify things before they've ever come up on our site. So we're trying really hard on the back end to remove any fraudulent units or anything that might be fraud. So really think through where you're looking for a unit. so that you can, avoid any type of fraud that's there. And again, like sites like RV Trader, we work really hard to kind of take some of that guesswork out. Things can, always happen, but that's one piece. And then the other is kind of going back to that. If it is too good to be true, it may be. So,
Right.
Really ask yourself those questions, and just try to protect yourself like that as well. And then don't click on links. And, if they send you something and say, hey, can you click on this? I've got to get this information. Don't do it. That goes back to if it doesn't sounds too good to be true, it probably is.
Right. Okay, Paige, your computer's revolting. The torture is over. We are at time. So that is all the time we have today for these questions. If you didn't have an opportunity to submit your question in the comments section, just go ahead and email us at marketing@rvtrader.com, and we'll continue answering those as we receive them. In addition, we will be dropping that link into the comment section about our blog and all the resources that we've created to help you through your digital shopping journey. So ultimately, I just want to thank you again, as we wrap up, thank you for joining and sharing your insight. Now I can go hopefully convince my husband to buy an RV. Any final thoughts outside of that? You probably will throw your computer once we're done, but any final thoughts that you'd love to leave with the audience?
No, I'm just so happy that a lot of people joined this, and I'm really excited for more people to get involved in camping and RVing. It is such an amazing sport, if you want to call it, and just fun family time. People are going to be joining it, and my closing is happy camping.
Perfect. All right, thank you so much, Paige, and have a great day, everyone. Bye.
Thank you. You too.